and welcome all of you to my YouTube channel, Animals and Pets with Partha. In my last two episodes, one in Hindi and one in Bengali, I announced that we are coming out with a portal on the animal world, the animalworldregistry.com. I thought our registry was most important to sort of bring all pet lovers onto a platform. A registry that even takes into account the stray animals that are on the streets and are getting support from a lot of animal lovers across the country. In fact, our administration also passed rules so that there is no hindrance to looking after stray dogs and feeding them on the roads. But at the same time, it is most important that we contain the population of the huge number of stray dogs that are already there. And instead of being really checked, they are in certain places, at least in Calcutta, they are growing at a fast pace. Well, why I was triggered to start this animalworldregistry.com is because I'm in contact with a lot of caregivers in the animal industry, and I've been running a veterinary clinic for last 40 years or so. And in this period, I've been in contact with numerous people, veterinary assistants and veterinarians who were involved in the sterilization program. And not very long ago, I was in conversation with one of them who does about 30-40 sterilizations every day. He said, I asked him a question because it's always worried me, because most of the animals and pets in the country are not registered. And even if there is a way to register dogs, or maybe cats, dogs in particular, but then there are small clubs, of course. The small clubs, why I say, because they deal in very few numbers of registration compared to the purebred dog population in the country. And they only cater to the purebred dogs, and that is the end of it. And the number of purebred and the registration fees of this, some of them are really exorbitant. They run to thousands of rupees. And not only that, these registrations, especially by one club, it is completely fake, and most of them, over 90% will be, because there are certain rules that there are inspectors and things like that, and most of them are all corrupt. They do not do any inspection. Rather, they have agents who come with fake papers and fake they fill out forms with fake names, which are and the pedigrees will never match. If you do a DNA for these dogs, they don't belong to the pedigree that they actually advertise or they carry with them. But nevertheless, that is a situation at the moment. But there are other clubs like the United Kennel Club or the Indian National Kennel Club who are doing a wonderful job. But that too on a very small level. Only a few people who are interested to show dogs under any of these clubs would bother to register their dogs. And that goes only for dogs, and then only for this cats, of course. I've heard there is a registration system in Pune or maybe Nasik, but then we don't see anything here. But if you go to the pet shops around, you will see that most of these pet shops are selling cat food. And the cat food they sell, they would obviously be selling more cat food than dog food. But then where is this cat? Do you think the cat population is Persian cats or Siamese cats or any other exotic breeds of cats? No. It is that percentage of cats is not even 1%. But then the majority of the cats are stray cats, which actually they were because in a city like Calcutta or any other, the cats travel from long distances in search of food, and they breed, and wherever they find a lonely place, they can give a litter, and then after that, of course, they grow up, and then they also find homes that they would be fed in. So these cats actually are, they actually come into your home, and then out of pity you start feeding them, and they become regular visitors. And after some time, of course, then you have to buy cat food, because every time they land up, you may not have some spare food to give them. Earlier days, of course, people used to go to the market every day and buy fresh vegetables and fishes and things like that. I have known my forefathers, at least my in-laws, they had 9 cats, and they were all stray cats. And my father-in-law would go to the market and buy specially fish for them, and as he walked into the house, he would be throwing raw fishes to them, because that was what they loved. So those days are gone. Now you don't really get those, people don't go to the market so often, and those small fishes are not very much around. So now the cat food has come in. So there are plenty and plenty of brands of cat food, ocean fish and tuna and whatnot, salmon and things like that. So they are doing a wonderful business, and even though there are very few sort of exotic breeds of cats in this city of Partha, I'm sure in most other cities also it is the same story. But then this cat also, they need to be sterilized. We must contain the population of these cats, because they are growing unchecked. And most of them, of course, they get fed in the homes, but some of them land up keeping 5, 10, 15 cats at home, and then they don't know where to go to sterilize them. There is, and if they have to do it privately, it's very expensive. Not everybody can afford that. Definitely, we must have organizations who would be promoting, or rather helping in sterilizing of these cats at a reasonable rate, or to free also to people who cannot afford the cost of surgery for sterilizing these cats. Well, the point that I wanted to get to is that unless you have record, how do you know which dog or cat you have sterilized? So I asked this question to a caregiver, a veterinary assistant, who, as I said, sort of helps in doing 30-40 sterilization programs every day. And he said, I asked him that supposing you operate a dog, and then you, as per rule, you go back to the place after 7-10 days when the wound is healed, and you leave it. After some time, after a year or so, you can pick up the same dog and bring it and open up and see that the organ has already been removed. So how do you identify this dog? Then he answered that we just chop off 1 ear of the dog, which is so brutal. It's really barbaric. It should not be done. They should have some marking, permanent marking, which these dogs would have. And once it's sterilized, they should be tattooed in the left or right ear of the dog. And that tattoo number should be recorded. So as soon as it's sterilized, the NGO or whichever organization does it, under them they register this, and it is in the cloud stored. And these, of course, should be complementary as far as possible. So I have designed a policy where we can really come into this animalworldregistry.com can really come into use very effectively to permanently mark these dogs by a tattoo number. A very small combination of numbers that would specify the year, the month, and even it's a dog or a cat or a cow or a goat or whatever. So it all can be done. So all animals have, of course, the right to be identified with a number. Like we all have identification, like we have our Aadhaar cards, and we have our, if we are income tax payee, we have our PAN cards, and then we have our voter ID cards, and if you are driving, then you have driving license, which is also an ID. Then you have passport if you are traveling out of the country, and all so on and so forth. But then dogs also must have a specific identity certificate, so that whether they're vaccinated or they need to be vaccinated. All this has to be recorded. So if you are doing a vaccination program on the stray dogs, how do you record which dogs you have vaccinated? You can't sort of, you catch a set of dogs, do it and leave them back in the same streets, and then another party comes in and they pick up the same dogs and start vaccinating them again. So all this has been taken note of. And apart from that, there are millions and millions of dogs, even purebred dogs and other animals which are not registered because of the cumbersome process and all the inspection and the bribes and then thousands and thousands of rupees. And not only the registration, they will force you to buy an English magazine, which in a country like India, which has so many languages, there is a very small fraction of the people who really speak English. So they may not this English magazine makes no sense to them. So it's like even white paper would mean something where they can write on, but a printed matter in English, which means nothing to people who just know Hindi or maybe Tamil or maybe Bengali, whatever. So they are forcing this, and so there are thousands and thousands of rupees they're charging, and there's a whole sort of racket being organized racket, this paper making. So what we have done is we have done this voluntary registration system, which for individuals it might just cost less than a cup of coffee, and then you have the record in the cloud, and it's associated with a number, and then it's associated with a mobile number and things like that. So it's all very easy to perform. You can record the pedigrees of the dog. It's all practically free for the price of a cup of good coffee. So the portal is nearly ready and will be launched in a very, very short while. Let me come to the pet industry. Pet industry is a very fast-growing industry, not only in India, all over Asia. In China, it is a multi-billion-dollar industry. In India, it is 0.8 billion, valued at 0.8 billion, and growing at a very fast rate of 17% in the per annum, in the period 2018 to 24. So it is really a very fast-growing industry with lots and lots of pets being bred all across this country, and with plenty of people becoming empowered, people making money, people being solvent people who finally have the wherewithal to buy a pet and keep it and enjoy it, and of course they must do it. And so this registry will come in handy for everyone, even the sellers, the pet shop owners, the breeders, everybody can use it. It is most simple. It is just it takes only a couple of minutes, and then you have complete registration papers in your hand. It's a record, a document, but even if you lose your pet, you can immediately go to the police station and lodge a complaint, and there's a number, which number if you tattoo, which is very simple. Most of the clinics in a short while will be able to do it. It's nowadays tattoo is very common, and you can even do it with tattoo pen which you can make at home. So it's very simple process, and it's just a couple of numbers, maybe 4 or 5 numbers that can and digits that can just be done on the ear of the dog or any other place in any other animal, and all of this is you can see it on YouTube, how each of these animals can be tattooed and where it is tattooed and how it is done. All the explanations are there. We will also be covering it in our YouTube channel, Animals and Pets with Partha, where we will be tattooing the animals and we'll show you exactly exactly the process and where to tattoo each of different types of animals. Now, finishing off, I had lots to say, but I must cut off now because it's already 15 minutes past, and I don't want my episodes to go beyond 15 minutes. So I will come back with this animalworldregistry.com in a short while with more announcements, and I'll keep at it and explaining everything that you want. Please, you can always put questions to me, and you can it's already there, and then I will answer them, and I will come back on my forthcoming episodes answering whatever queries that you may have about this portal. And thank you very much. Please subscribe, please ring the bell button, and we will see you again soon.